What's up and welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, I'm super excited because it is all about blush. If you guys have been following me for a while, you already know that blush is my favorite part of my makeup routine. It's probably the one makeup item I have the most of aside from eyeshadow palettes. And I thought it would be really fun today to actually go through my entire blush collection, blush palettes, powder blushes, cream blushes, loose blushes, all that good stuff, and just share it with you guys in case you guys are in the market for a really nice, gorgeous blush. Your girl got you covered. I didn't really get to do this with my entire makeup collection video because I didn't want it to be so long and I couldn't go through every eyeshadow palette, every highlighter, every blush, you know what I mean? So I kind of want to start this little series where I go through certain things in depth. And today we're going to start off with blush because it's my favorite and I love blush. And honestly, I just really want to like swatch all my blushes again, just to fall in love with them all over again. So if you want to see my entire blush collection, then keep on watching. Let's go ahead and start off with MAC because it's probably the one brand that I have the most blushes of. First off is MAC Burnt Pepper. I literally love this one. This one is probably one of my favorite blushes. It's super, super pretty. Look at that. I just think this is a really gorgeous blush for every day. This one is MAC Raisin. This one is definitely a cult favorite blush. This is also a really pretty blush for every day. I'm obsessed with it. I think it is super, super pretty. Look at that. It's a really nice burnt blush and I think it's super, super pretty for deeper complexions as well. These next two blushes are also from MAC. This one right here is the shade Full Fuchsia. This one's a really, really bright pink blush. I don't really use this one as much because of how bright pink it is, but it is really, really pretty for like those really nice monochromatic blush looks. And then we have this one right here, which is Fever. Super pretty. It's a really, really deep plum blush, but I think it's super pretty for the fall time. This one kind of reminds me of Burnt Pepper and Raisin, but just a little bit more burgundy-like. This one is Frankly Scarlet. I think this one is super pretty for the summertime. It's really, really pretty. A lot of the MAC blushes kind of look a little bit similar, but I promise that they're not similar at all. This one is a different type of formula. It's really like putty-like, so if you put your fingerprint in it, it'll literally like form to that. I don't use this one that much. It's super pretty though, and it feels so fun to apply. This almost gives me like ColourPop Super Shock blushes. It's super, super pigmented, very cloudy. You can blend it in. Super, super pretty. But I would use a beauty blender with this blush right here. This is in the shade Rosie Does It. Lastly, from MAC, we have this one right here. This one is the shade Flirting with Danger. This one is one of their like baked blush formulas. It has a little bit of a reddish undertone to it, almost like pinkish reddish undertone. Super, super pretty. Very, very soft. Very, very soft. So I have two blushes from NYX. This is their Sweet Cheeks blushes. So I did declutter a lot of these from NYX, but I did manage to keep two. I have the shades Red Riot, which is this one right here, and then this one right here is called Risky Business. They're very, very pretty blushes. One is deeper than the other, but super pretty. I have my three Pat McGrath blushes. Oh, I'm super obsessed with these blushes, you guys. So the first one is Electric Bloom. Super, super stunning. Oops, super stunning. Very, very vibrant. I love this blush. Very, very pretty. Look at that. The next one is Paradise Venus. This is my favorite everyday blush. Also very, very pretty. Love this blush. And then the last one from Pat McGrath is Love Struck. Now the Pat McGrath blushes are very, very long wearing. These Pat McGrath blushes do last for the price, but oh my gosh, do y'all see those three blushes? Like, what the heck? Super pretty. She did an amazing job with these blushes. These are some of my favorites in my collection. Now we're gonna move into my Milani blushes. The Milani blushes in my collection are probably like my least used blushes, which is crazy because they are so good. Like, look at this. It has like a little bit of like sheen in it. It's not satiny. I really want to say they're super They're super shimmery, some of them, not all of them. This one is the shade Red Vino. It's one of their newer shades. But look at how beautiful this is. I tend to pull from the Milani blushes in the wintertime because I just think that they go so well with those nice fall looks. This one right here is the shade Coralina. Super, super pretty. I think I don't pull from these a lot because they are really, really shimmery. Like there's a ton of shimmer in these. Like I'm not really the biggest fan of shimmer blushes, but they are really pretty. This one right here is the shade Cherry on Top. This one reminds me of Red Vino a lot, but it is just a smidget deeper than Red Vino, but I'm gonna swatch it next to each other. It just has, kind of looks a little brighter on camera, but like, look at that. Next one from Milani is the shade Peach of Me. This one is really pretty. I do use this one quite a bit when I want a nice peachy toned blush. And then the last blush from Milani is a beautiful everyday blush. It's really deep. It's called Coco Felicia. I don't know if I'm saying that right. But this one is a nice, gorgeous everyday blush. So if you're looking for something good for everyday, you're gonna love this one. This one's also really pretty on deeper complexions. Let me swatch that again just to build it up. But it's super, super pretty for everyday. Next up are some of my favorite blushes in my collection. All of these from Nabla are so unmatched. When I show you guys the swatches of these, oh my gosh. Run, don't walk to the Ulta site to get these. I wouldn't really get these from the Nabla site because it is in a different currency. Not too sure what the currency is, but I found it a lot harder for me to purchase from Nabla, but you can get all of these from Ulta. This one is adults only. Oh my gosh, do you guys see this? It's so luxe-like. Oh my goodness, look at this blush. Like, oh my gosh. Beautiful. Then we have Lola, which is definitely one of my favorites. I love this blush so much. Lola is super, super pretty as a blush topper. Then we have Independence. This is one of my newer blushes from Nabla. Really pretty. This one's really like a lot lighter and subtler, but I also like to use this one to like set my cream blushes. Lastly, we have the shade Privilege, which should not be in here. It's a highlighter. So we're gonna put this with the highlighters. Next up are my Beauty Bay highlighters. These are only $6 last I checked. I got these for $6. That's the retail price on these. So seriously, you guys, if you see these, go to Beauty Bay, run over there, pick up one of the Beauty Bay blushes because they're so inexpensive and they're so pigmented. So the first one is the shade Cosmo. This one is a really, really bright fuchsia pink. This is one of my more unique colors in my collection. If you love these hot, fiery pink blushes, oh my god, look at that. This is a $6 Beauty Bay blush. Like, can you believe that? $6 on Beauty Bay. This one is the blush that I probably use the most from Beauty Bay. It's the Coral blush. It's literally called Coral. Super stunning, you guys. Oh my gosh. So this one is Coral. If you love corally blushes, which I know a lot of people do, you're gonna love this blush so much. This blush right here is called Royal. This one is probably also one of my least used blushes because it's super, super deep, but it is so pretty. Oh my gosh, look at how pretty this blush is. It's not as intimidating as you would think. I would think that the fuchsia one, like this hot pink one, is more intimidating than this one, but it is pretty deep, but you could definitely build it up or sheer it out. Next, we're gonna go ahead and move into the ColourPop blushes. So this one right here was definitely one that everyone really, really wanted. And this is the Love Me Not Pressed Powder Blush. It's super hard to open. I might not be able to open it because of my nails. It's like a red tone blush. I have not used this one as much as I would like to. I honestly, comparing this to any of my other like red tone type of blushes, I feel like this one could have been a lot more like redder, but it is still a cute little blush. Lizzie McGuire blush right here. This one is the You Are Magnifico. This one's really, really shimmery. Very, very different from any other blushes in my collection. but it still is a cute blush. Right here is probably one of my favorite ColourPop blushes. I don't talk about this a lot on my channel anymore because this is from the Tiana, like the Disney designer collection. It's the shade Kissin' a Frog. I love this one. It is on the light side, but it is one of those blushes that really do work for deeper complexions. You can use it as like a topper blush shade. Next we have the ColourPop Hello Kitty blush. This one is called Island Shine. Super pretty, very, very silky, powdery. I have a lot of blushes that look just like this. This one right here I love a lot. This one is also from the Hello Kitty collection. It's super vibrant and bright. I use this one a lot for the summertime. It's my favorite out of both in the Hello Kitty collab. So I have 3 blushes from NARS. NARS blushes are really expensive. I got all of these on sale. They're like $30 for each of these blushes, but they're very good. I will say with this particular formula, it is very hard pressed in the pan. This one is the shade Aroused. It's like a berry tone blush. You can kind of almost feel like the stuff inside of the pan, but it is a typical berry toned blush. This one is called Savage. This one's a little bit more shimmery. I haven't used this one as much as I would like, but it is very, very silky. Almost could be like a bronzer kind of like topper shade. Oh, that's pretty. I think this will be pretty on top of like a nice, gorgeous, everyday matte blush. Lastly, for NARS, we have this one right here called Exhibit A. Super, super pretty and vibrant. If you are of a deeper complexion, you are going to love this blush. Like, look at this blush. I'm trying to find a spot that's not wet with, you know, with makeup wipe remover, but look at how vibrant and beautiful this blush is. Next up, we have my favorite blush from Juvia's Place. It's the Bella blush. Look at how stunning this is. Oh my gosh, this is another one of those like orangey type of blushes. I love this blush. Well, my arm is super wet. Look at how gorgeous this blush is. And it's always on sale on Juvia's for like $5. I would pick this up. It's super, super pretty. Next up is this blush right here from Makeup by Mario. I have the shade Wild Berry. This is a really pretty blush to top with. It's really great for every day. Next up is this blush from Beauty Bakery. It's the Snackaroons blush in the shade Freshly Baked. I really don't pull from this blush a lot because this is really, really tiny. This like reminds me of a single shadow compact. That's how small it is. You can get this at Target. It's super, super creamy. I really wish that they released this in like a single, I mean, you know, like a normal size compact, not a mini size, because it's so pretty. It's really hard for my brush to fit in this little tiny compact. Next up is this blush from e.l.f. in the shade Always Spicy, another orangey blush. You guys probably have noticed by now I have a ton of orange blushes in my collection. I'm obsessed with orange toned blushes, if you haven't like noticed by now. These 2 blushes right here from Rimmel London. These are the Maxi blushes. I love these blushes so much. These are probably like, these are the blushes that got me into blushes, to be honest. It was last year in 2020 when I really started getting into blush. I just became obsessed with it, and these 2 jump-started my blush obsession. They're only how much? I'm gonna say $2. Oh my god, they're only like $4 a piece, and you can get them at Walmart or anywhere that Rimmel London is sold. Next up are my 2 minted blushes. I remember a time when I used to be super obsessed with these. This one right here is the shade Clay Too Much. This used to be my everyday blush shade. I just forgot all about it. It's just a really, really pretty blush. And this one right here is called Buried Away. Here we go again with another berry toned blush. I just love both of these blushes. They're super pigmented, and I know this one looks really light on camera, but I'm telling you, they work beautifully on the skin. So next up, I have this blush right here. It's not necessarily a blush, but it is from Fenty Beauty. It's called Ruby Riches. And it is super, super pretty. It's just a really nice, gorgeous topper kind of blush. It kind of reminds me of the Nabla blush that I swatched earlier. And I like to use this as like a blush, but a really, really light hand goes a long way with this particular blush. I have this Laura Mercier blush, really, really pretty. It's very plum-like. But it's super pretty as like an everyday kind of blush. Lastly, for like single powder blushes. This is my 2 loose blushes from Jaclyn Cosmetics. I cannot wait until this collection comes to Ulta because I will be buying the other 2 that I don't have. But as of right now, I have the shade LOML, which is the one I took with me on vacation, and I love it. The other blush is Love Poem. You guys, I'm obsessed with these. I love this formula so much, and I just love it. Definitely check out my video on this collection. Now we're gonna go ahead and move into cream blushes, and then we'll do palettes, which I don't have a lot of. It's right back here. And then that'll be my whole blush collection. So we're gonna go ahead and start off with the Pixie On The Glow blush. Oh my gosh, you guys. I love this blush. Look at it. It looks like a little mini deodorant, but it's super pretty. Oh my gosh, like swatch. How are you swatching? Look at that. Very pigmented. Next up, I have this Makeup by Mario blush. This is in the shade Raspberry. Oops, wrong side. Raspberry, super pretty. Mine is a little dirty, but look at that blush. Oh my goodness. That is stunning. I have these 3 blush sticks from ColourPop. Surprisingly, this blush stick, the newest one from the Limoncello collection, doesn't have like one of the tops, so it's kind of hard to see what shade I'm pulling from. Kind of reminds me of the Raspberry from Makeup by Mario. In a way, it really could be a dupe. And then the next blush stick I have is the shade Invite Only from ColourPop. This one is a lot deeper, which I do love and appreciate. They're so creamy and so pigmented. Lastly is the blush stick from the Limoncello collection. This one is even deeper, but it's like almost skin tone like, but it's a really pretty brown kind of, if it'll focus, I doubt that it will. There we go. Kind of blush. Next up from ColourPop, I decluttered all of my Cheek Dew serum blushes, but I kept one just in case I needed it for like a future reference for a video or something like that. I kept the shade Rumors. I'm not gonna lie, I really wish that I loved this Cheek Dew blush formula, but I just really didn't like it. You know, I didn't like it, but the new collection, that like tropical collection, those red blushes look so good. But I kept this one because this is the only color that will really show up on my skin tone without me having to pile on a ton of product. But yeah, so that's why I kept it. Next up are these 2 blushes right here from Tower 28. They look pretty similar on camera, but they're not. So I have the shade Power Hour and the shade After Hours. They're both really pretty blushes. Very creamy. I'm gonna swatch one of these. I'm gonna swatch After Hours. Oh, such a great pigmented formula. Look at that. If you're looking for a really good cream blush, I highly recommend these from Tower 28. Next up, I have my Fenty cream blushes. I have 3 of these in my collection. The first one I have is the shade Drama Class, which is a really pretty purple shade. If I can get it open. My nails make it so hard for me. I cannot get it open. Okay, so I was able to get this one open, which is Daiquiri Dip. Mine is a little bit disgusting, so don't talk about me, but it's super pretty. Very pigmented. I haven't used these in a while, but I really do need to because they're really great and I love them. I'm just personally waiting for Fenty to come out with powder blushes. So this one right here is called Summertime Wine. Also really dirty, so excuse that. Next up, I have these 3 cream blushes. Well, they're not cream, but they're liquid blushes from Rare Beauty. I love this blush formula so much. My favorite blush is the shade Love. It is this gorgeous terracotta blush shade. I'm only gonna swatch this one, but it is a really gorgeous terracotta blush shade. And then they have this one right here, and then this pink shade right here. This orange shade, or like red shade, is called Grateful, and this pink shade is called Lucky. Lastly, from Rare Beauty, I have this Stay Vulnerable blush right here. This is in the shade Nearly Berry. Super pretty blush. I like to apply this particular blush with like a beauty blender or something like that. I have these 3 blushes from Milani. These are just typical like cream blushes. They're really pigmented. A lot of people say that these are a dupe for the Fenty cream blushes, but I have the shade, what is this? Blushing Berry. This one right here is called Merlot Moment, and this last one is called Coral Crush. Next up, I have these e.l.f. Putty blushes. So the first one, okay, these are gonna be super hard to tell. Oops, I just dropped one. Okay, so these are gonna be super hard to tell you the names because the names are not as easily visible and accessible, but I do have all of them. Super hard to hold, but I have all of them. I do have a video on all of these blushes for when they first came out, so definitely go and check that out. Next up, I have 3 blushes from LYS Beauty. LYS Beauty is a Black-owned clean brand at Sephora. Definitely check them out if you're interested. This one right here is called Passion Empower. Very, very gorgeous. These are really hard to store. Not gonna lie, a very hard to store component, but it's super cute and really, really unique. And then this last one is called Inspire, which is a little bit on the corally side. Next up, I have these 2 super dewy liquid blushes from Makeup Revolution. I like these when I first tried them. I haven't used these in a while, but these are super pretty blushes. Oh my gosh, I was like, why is it not coming out? So this one right here is a very bright neon pink. This is the shade, I don't even know. You Had Me at First Blush, which is this one. Oh my gosh, these are really pretty. I put way too much on my hand, but this one is super, super pretty. Very vibrant if you're into that kind of thing. And then this other one is called Blush Me Up. They just came out with 3 new shades, and there's a red one that I'm thinking about picking up, but I really, really do like this. This is the kind of formula that I thought that the ColourPop Super Dewy cheek dews or whatever were gonna be, but I really, really like this formula. For cream blushes, I have some Super Shock blushes. Well, they're not really cream, but these are the ColourPop Super Shock blushes. I have the shade POV, which is a really bright pink. I have this one right here called Cruel Intentions. I have this one right here, which is really, really glowy. It's called Brute Flute. This one right here, which is probably my favorite one, is called Cheerio. I love this one so much. It's super pretty. Oh my gosh. Oh, are they drying out? I hope they're not drying out on me. Look at that. This reminds me of Ruby Riches from Fenty Beauty and that Nabla blush that I swatched earlier. And the other blush that I love is a really pretty everyday blush from ColourPop. It's the shade Swift. It's really, really pretty, super, super creamy. Oh my gosh, such a creamy, creamy blush. Formula, you definitely have to build it up to get like the color that you want, but when you do, stunning. Lastly, for cream blushes, I have these 2 from Jaclyn Cosmetics. This one is the shade Overruled. Really, really pretty. Love this blush. Super stunning. And then this one right here called Royal Flush, which I'm super obsessed with right here. So these 2 from Jaclyn, I love and I have been using so much lately. Now we're getting into the very last part of my blush collection, which is palettes. Surprise, surprise, this is all my blush palettes. Well, I do have 2 more. Like, what am I doing? I'm tripping. Okay, I have a couple more. Hold up, that's not all of them. Okay, so this is all of my blush palettes right here. This is all that I have, surprisingly. You would think that I would have a lot of blush palettes, but I really don't. This is the Volume 1 Blushed Rogie collection. Look at how pretty these blushes are. Like, super, super stunning. Always pulling from these 2. Love these blushes. This blush trio right here from Alamar Cosmetics. And oh my gosh, I love this so much. These honestly remind me of the Juvia's Place blushes. 2 deepest blushes in the Alamar Cosmetics one look just like those 2. Didn't even realize that until just now. The Jaclyn Cosmetics Rouge Romance Blush Palette. This one is the Rouge Romance one. Super pretty, very much obsessed with this blush palette. We have the Rouge Affair Blush Palette, which is a lot more cool toned. Love this palette as well. These 2 blush palettes from BH Cosmetics. I have the Vanilla Truffle blush palette and then the Chocolate Marshmallow Truffle palette. Ooh, that's a mouthful. This one is really pretty, very nice for everyday blushes. This shade right here is probably my favorite. This blush palette does smell really, really good, by the way. It smells like cake. And then this one is my most used out of the 2. I do have these 2 Hank & Henry blush palettes. So this one right here is the There's no names on these, but this one is the most vibrant one. Very, very vibrant, very pigmented as well. Look at these blushes, like, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, look at those. Pretty. And then there's the other one, which is a lot deeper of the palettes. I like this one because it has a lot of like everyday blush tones. This one right here is super pretty for every day. And then I'm running out of fingers. We have this really pretty orangey kind of blush. Of course, I have my blush binder in here. You guys see this all the time, but it's literally 3 pages of gorgeous blushes. Love this product. It's so hard to hold it back here, but I love this product. Then I have the Beauty Bakery Cotton Candy Champagne Blush Lighter Palette. I went crazy over this when it first came out, and I really, really wanted it. Finally got it, and I really don't pull from this, which is crazy to me because I was super excited about this, and then I just don't really pull from it. I feel like it'd be like that sometimes, you know? I have this BH Cosmetics Bellini Blush Palette. This is a really gorgeous palette that I like to use in the summertime. I love the peachy tones in here. I just like to mix a whole bunch just to like get the effect from these blushes. I have my Lunar Beauty Moon Prism Blush Palette. I really, really hope that Manny comes out with another blush palette, but with deeper blushes. Very, very light, and I don't pull from this a lot anymore. I used to really be obsessed with this blush palette, but the blushes in here are not that deep for me, and I didn't really realize that. Wow, I can't even swatch it because like I didn't really realize that, but they're not deep blush shades at all, so I don't really pull from this one that much, but I love the packaging. It's super pretty. I just hope that he comes out with more blushes. I think that was all of my blushes. Alright guys, so I hope you guys enjoyed seeing my entire blush collection. I had so much fun filming it. I know this is so weird where I am in my filming room. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys in my next video. And don't forget to subscribe before you go. Bye guys.